Texas and franchise enthusiasts. I'm your host, Josh Cherry. I got my man, Robbie Marlowe.
What's up? What's up?
Wearing the pilot headset today.
Yep.
And we've got our good friends. We got Candace and Anthony. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. You guys have a little bit of experience with franchising with a couple of different models, and we're going to dive into that. And we're excited to hear your story. Just so everybody remembers from last episode when we had Mr. Dan Goodwin on, Texas Franchise Radio is here to help three different types of people. People that are possibly looking into buying into a franchise of some sort that's already open and operating. Maybe somebody that's running a coffee shop like Conroe Coffee here next door and wants to turn their business into a franchise. Or just people who are already in the franchise system, open and operating either as a franchisor or a franchisee. We are here to bring you all things franchising here in the Texas market. Today's show specifically, though, we are going to talk about people looking to buy into a franchise system, some good habits, some good do's and don'ts. How do you find the right franchise system? Because there's more than just a couple out there. There are thousands and thousands of franchise systems, and picking the right one, there's a lot of different dynamics that go into that. So Robbie, whenever people, you probably get this question all the time, right? People start seeing what we're doing, or they start learning about other franchises. I know we talked on the last episode, you were kind of looking at different franchise systems early on. What do you think are some of the common key things that people do when they first just even think they want to start getting into the franchise industry and start looking at a couple of different concepts?
Yeah, I think one of the first things they do is they probably walk into a store and they realize, hey, they can envision themselves owning this or being a part of this store they're walking into, this concept. I think that where most of it starts, and then they get into it and then start realizing the culture and what it takes. And, the main thing that you want to start looking at when you're looking into a franchise, to me, at least when I was looking into it, was, is this something that I want to do myself? Do I really believe in the product? Do I enjoy doing this, making this thing or whatever it is that concept's doing?
Again, one of the coolest things we realized when we went to Robbie and I got to go to the IFA convention in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. Sorry. Getting a little weird there. Maybe. So a lot of people don't understand what franchising is. They're a little confused about what franchising is and how to make it what it needs to be. And so, it's a big part of our economy. 750,000 of these businesses across the United States. 50% of them are food type concepts. And today we're going to talk specifically about service type concepts. Try to figure out what's going on with Mike here. All right. I think we're a little better now. Sorry about that. So Candace, what do you think, what are some big differences between service-based franchises and food-based franchises?
You kind of put me on the spot. I'm more service-based. I don't really talk about food, but I would just say the customer service. You go into McDonald's and here's your water, or here's your I don't even need McDonald's, but your Big Mac, and they kind of just throw it to you. There's no relationship building. And in the customer service business, in the salons that we own, that's something that we really focus on, and making sure that people feel really welcomed and really invited into being in our space.
Anthony, I know you have a little bit of experience with food, right? So to you, what are some of the big differences between like a food-based franchise, which, like I said, out of 750,000 establishments here in the U.S. that are franchised, over 50% of those are food-based. Why do you think that is? And what are some differences between some food-based franchises and your service-based franchises?
The biggest only real difference is going to be the product, and the product is sold from a transaction base. From a customer perspective, it's about the service. So there's franchises that do a great job on the service side, like a Chick-fil-A in the food business, top-notch service, top-notch quality of food. The experience is great. The transaction process is great for the customer. It's inviting, it's friendly. The environment is somewhere that's conducive to the customer base. And then there's ones that just don't do a very good job at it. Our concepts, Tune Up the Manly Salon, does a very, very good job with respect to the service. We invite customers in. We give them the best service possible. We take care of them. We give them always something on the house, something for free. We give them an ambiance that they like. We cater to our core demographics. And then we just happen to make some money selling haircuts.
That's one of the best things about service-based, in my opinion, is that you can give those things away for free. You have some different dynamics going on there. Robbie, what about you? What do you think the difference is between those service-based and the restaurant-based?
Well, especially the industry we're in, it's the fitness industry and service base, is that we constantly have to stay in front of the market. It's an evolving thing what the consumer wants. And we're having to stay and keep giving that product the best. Now, the food industry, I think, to me, is, not as fun as service, because service, you get to build, like Candace said, you get to build relationships, you get to meet people, you get to constantly see a different face. Food, there's a lot of things that go into it, and I never wanted to be in food, so I try to stay away from it when it comes to franchising or just business in general.
And obviously, with over 50% being in the food, it's a big market because everybody's got to eat, and everybody's got to eat every single day. But there are some different dynamics when it comes to service based. We don't have any variable COGS really. There's no variable cost of goods sold. We don't have to do the food stuff. It's a little different. So let's go into what are some best practices for finding a franchise system that would best fit that person. All right. So according to entrepreneur.com, they've got about 12 things that you want to look at when it comes to evaluating a brand that's going to fit for you. Number one is give yourself a personality test. Robbie alluded to that just a second ago. Hey, I don't like food. I don't know food. Don't want to do food. So you've really got to look inside and say, what do I enjoy doing? So what else do you think, Anthony, Candace, Robbie, when it says give yourself a personality test, why is that important when somebody's looking at getting involved with a brand?
Well, I'll take the stab at that one first. Candace pointed at me because we get asked that question all the time. And every single time the question is asked to me, I have the same boilerplate answer. And I have had it for the last 20 years. Jim Collins writes a book called Good to Great. He wrote it in the early 90s. And in that book talks about the hedgehog concept. And the hedgehog concept is 3 simple circles. It's kind of an internal business analysis and how successful you'll truly be in whatever business you're in. And it's 3 questions. The first one is, what are you truly passionate about? The second one is, what can you be the best in the world at? And the third is, what drives your economic engine? And the reality that we've experienced is that if you can say yes, yes, and yes to all 3 of them, you're going to be successful in whatever business you choose. If it makes money and you're good at it, but you're not passionate about it, you're only going to be 2/3 successful. And if you only have one of those boxes checked, you're going to be a failure. And if you're not passionate about it at all, it doesn't make any money for it, and you're not that good at it, it's automatic failure. So we really go after franchisees and business partners and employees in general, and salon managers, and anybody that we involve in our circle, they can say yes, yes, and yes to all 3 of those circles. That's really who we want to be around, and that's who we want to involve in our circle.
My man, Jim Collins, Good to Great, Hedgehog Concepts, one of the greatest concepts out there. He also expanded further about right people, right seats, which is very important. But the Hedgehog concept, Robbie and I use the Hedgehog concept to drive decisions we're going to make while building Delta Life Fitness. Like when we think about adding some different services, we think about the Hedgehog concept. Are we trying to be fitness and nutrition and lifestyle and body composition? Well, we can't be the best at that. So why focus on them? So we've really used that here recently to drive what we focus on. Okay, let's stop focusing so much on all these other things that I know I can never be 1, 2, 3, or 4 at. Let's do like Jim Collins said with the Hedgehog concept and really narrow down into one. But if you're looking to get into a franchise system, there's so many different brands, and you just start looking at all the potential ones that are out there. And by the way, there isn't one that's going to make sure you're successful. There's not, like, you can't go to the top, you can't go to the top 10 franchise list on entrepreneur.com and pick number 3. And because it's number 3, invest in that brand and go be successful with it. It's got to match your personality. It's got to be something that matches up with your strengths and what you're already good at. So once you kind of figure out that and you go in, number 2 on entrepreneur.com says study the field. And study the field is important, just because you want to really understand this industry. Like Robbie said, I know nothing about food. I know nothing about turning tables. I know nothing about spoilage or ordering supplies or any of that, or distribution and how to run distribution centers, make sure we have everything ready to go. Food would be a horrible fit for me. Studying the field is just super important. Number 3 is assess your strengths. So you really want to find out like what you're already really good at. Like Candace, you said assess your strengths. You were talking about really liking the things that you do at TuneUp. So how do some of your strengths, or how do some of the strengths of somebody who's going to work in or own a TuneUp, the Manly Salon, what kind of strengths are you looking for when it says assess those strengths? What makes a really good operator in the TuneUp system?
I would say the best thing is that they can't be shy. I know that's kind of a weird answer, but in TuneUp, you have to be able to go up to random people and be like, hey, high five, how you doing? Let me get you a beer. We like to give guys a hard time in the salons. And if you're shy or you're uncomfortable around people, that will not work for you. You have to be very, very outgoing. You have to have care. I always say that, hairstylists, we're a different breed, and we always come with our problems. And the owner, manager, whoever it is, they need to be able to understand that and be able to work with a lot of different personalities inside the salons.
Yeah, so there's actually some really good personality tests or strengths tests out there that you can go through to kind of see what's best for you for at least what industry you need to get into. Once you go through that, you need to count your money. So you need to, there's franchises that you can get into on the low end for maybe $15,000 total in. You can get into a brand as low as that, or you can get into a brand at $1.5 million. You need to figure out what kind of investment you have and set up for your franchise. Beware of franchise consultants. We've heard a lot of bad things. Robbie, do you think there's any downside to going through a franchise consultant, or what are some pros, what are some cons of going through a franchise consultant?
I think with a franchise consultant, I mean, you just got to find the one that works for you. It's just like dealing with a realtor or anything else. Like, they're either going to work for you or they're going to work for themselves. So you got to find the one that has the best interest for you. And those are the ones that are probably going to be more successful than the other ones because they continue to do a great job for people. And ask for referrals. If you know somebody's in the franchising business, look around, ask for referrals when dealing with a consultant. I mean, if you don't know anything about franchising and you're looking to get in franchising, a consultant's probably necessary just so you don't make mistakes. Because when you get into a franchise agreement, it's going to be a long-term agreement. It's a long-term, thing that you're going to have to do and run a business. So I think finding somebody that knows what they're talking about, but also fill them out and make sure they're working for you and not for themselves.
Yeah, like Robbie said, a franchise consultant is just like any other professional. If you have a real estate agent who gets paid when you sign the contract and they're only trying to push you into a unit, no matter what that unit looks like, that can be really bad. You want to find one that's really lining up to help you find the one that's going to be best for you. The rest of the list here is don't believe the franchise lie. That's just saying that, just because you buy into a franchise system doesn't guarantee your success. It's all about finding the right one for you that's going to allow you to be a good operator. So franchise businesses can fail, just like starting your own business. However, there's huge advantages to getting into a franchise system. Cuts back on a lot of the early legwork. Number 7 is dig for dirt. Number 8 is talk to the franchisees. Super important. If you're going to get into a model, call the other franchisees and see what their experience has been like. Number 9, read the entire franchise disclosure document. I can't believe how many people will start looking at a franchise brand and don't want to read it. It outlines everything in there you need. Go through the document, make sure you're familiar with it. Consider hiring a professional to help. You absolutely should go to your CPA, franchise attorney, have them look everything over, give you good advice on what that document says. And if you're comfortable with that document, explore working in a store. It's a good possibility. If you can go into a store, get as familiar with it as you can, work in the store, and then just do a cost benefit analysis is number 12. Make sure it's really going to pay off for you. So that's just a quick list of some things that can help you when you're starting to look for a franchise system to get involved with. All right, we are going to take a break. We're going to step away for a second, try to figure out this mic issue, and we'll be right back.
Lone Star Community Radio presents the Lone Star Radio Troupe. This talented cast will perform radio plays right here in the Lone Star Studios located in downtown Conroe. There will be a new performance every first Sunday of the month. And if you miss the broadcast, just go to Lone Star Community Radio's podcast or YouTube anytime during that month. Go to ourlonestar.com archives to find the Lone Star Radio Troupe's latest play that's available. This is Lone Star Community Radio, Conroe's 104.5 FM and 106.1 FM community station. Find us on the web at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Community Radio is a supporter to the performing arts in Montgomery County, Texas.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Hey, welcome back to Texas Franchise Radio, everyone. I think we got our mic issues fixed. We're back. We're jamming. Sorry about that on the first part. So just to recap, if you are looking to get into a system, look, it's a lot more than just the item 19s and the financial projections. It's a lot more than that. It's really about what's a brand that you can be involved with, that you're going to be passionate about, that aligns with your strengths, that aligned what you were willing to invest anyway, what the liquidity was, what the loan you need. All of those things really matter. Okay, so just to recap the list, and you can find these lists anywhere. You can go to entrepreneur.com. You can Google these lists. You can find them anywhere. But number one, give yourself that personality test. 2, study the field. 3, assess your strengths. 4, know how much money you have to invest. 5, be aware of franchise consultants, only the ones that don't have your best interest at heart. Okay, you can find great ones out there. Don't believe the franchise lie. Understand that your business could fail, so make sure you get into the right one for you. Dig for dirt. Try to find every brand's got a story. Try to find the story that aligns best with you. Talk to the other franchisees in the system. Number 9, read the entire financial disclosure document. Super important. And number 10, consider hiring professionals to help, those CPAs, those franchise attorneys, just so you really, truly understand what's in the document you're about to sign. 11, explore working in a store. And then make sure you do a cost versus benefit analysis. Okay. All right. So that wraps up section 1. Now we're going to dig into the fun stuff. We're really lucky today to have Candace and Anthony on the show with us. You guys are like serial franchisors. It's kind of exciting. So Anthony, how did you get into franchising in general? How did you get in the industry?
Well, we've been business owners for the last 13, 14 years, several different businesses between the food business, clothing, retail, restaurant, different service businesses. We love it. You're right. We're entrepreneurial. If I have to go back to work for somebody, I will, but I'm not looking forward to it. We just like having fun. So whenever we create a business model, we look at it from the notion of, can we be successful in this and have fun while we do it? Can we go out and find the right talent to complement our weaknesses? You know, you're going through this list, and one thing that I saw that I didn't see on here, number 3 is assess your strengths. But I think it's very, very important for a business owner, whether it be on a franchisor level or a prospective franchisee level, to also assess their weaknesses. Because there's a reality for business owners, is a couple of realities. You can't do everything. So you have to find the talent to be able to help you grow your business, because you can only be at one place at one time. And an internal reality for us is we have 19 hair salons open right now with another 15 in the works. And I physically can't cut hair. I don't have the licensing for it. I have no idea what I'm doing. You don't want to see me behind a chair cutting your hair. So the only possible way I could be successful is if I go out and we find the best talent to surround ourselves with. They can cut the right hair. They can talk to the customers the right way. They can pour cold beer. They can communicate and develop and market. And that's from everybody from the base level employee to the franchise owner to our corporate office. It takes a team to be able to build a concept.
Do you think that's given you an advantage in any way? Do you know how many people who are great at cutting hair and have been doing it for 20 or 30 years and maybe only have one salon and aren't helping as many people, aren't providing as many jobs? Do you think it's almost an advantage that you can't cut hair?
It might be. Candace kind of raised her hand. I know she wants to chime in. Here's where you can kind of tell the success metric of it is in the attrition. You know, so the sales are important, the cost of goods are important, regardless of the business, right? You can look at the ones and zeros of a P&L or a balance sheet, and you can kind of judge the success of the business off of that. You can say I have high sales or low sales. I have high costs or low costs. My labor's in line. My overhead expenses are there. I'm making money or I'm not. I'm servicing my debt. I'm pulling money out of the business. Those are all kind of black and white. I'd really focus on any prospective franchisee looking into a model, whether it's one of our models or any of the ones on the list, food or service or otherwise, to look at the attrition rate. The brand you're looking at buying into, does it lose more employees than competing brands? Or does it have the ability to retain its talent? It's pretty black and white to me. If a company like McDonald's has an attrition rate where their entire staff turns over every 3 to 6 months, is that really a brand you want to be involved in? Or is it not?
Yeah.
Or a company like TuneUp, where its average employee lasts at least a couple of years, where it has a huge growth period to where there's more promotions than there are employees getting fired or employees quitting. which is a literal thing that we've happened the last couple of months. We've promoted more employees to management level and to corporate positions, and we've had employees leave the system, whether it's a corporate or franchise store. So we can judge success by the attrition rate, because that goes into the culture, that goes into the emotion, that goes into the feel of the brand, and all those things can translate downstream into higher sales, into lower costs, into more care and passion for the brand.
You know, and speaking of finding people that are going to be a good fit for the franchise, we just actually got to sit next to you guys at the franchise show down in Houston, and I overheard Candace talking to somebody who was getting a little more information about TuneUp, and I overheard Candace tell him, she goes, look, you know, she basically said the same thing. I don't need you in there cutting hair. I don't need you doing those things. I need you to take care of the employees, and the employees will take care of the customers, and then customers will take care of you. That's really cool. And you guys have done a great job with your culture from the top down, and, you know, having past conversations with you on how you select your franchisees. You guys do an amazing job of culture. So what are some of those things you guys do to build that culture and keep employees longer than you think some of your competition?
I'm going to go back to my first saying, care. I really, really care about our employees. You know, I let them all have my cell phones. Even if they're franchise stores, they have my personal cell phone. They have my Facebook. They're able to reach out to me, whether it's a personal issue, a business issue, employee issue, a franchisee issue, whatever the case may be. I think that if I take care of them, they're going to automatically take care of my customers. And, you know, I know a lot of other competitors. I've been a licensed hairstylist for 19 years, so I've been in the industry for quite a while. And not another company cares about their employees. They care about the customer because the customer what brings the money. But what I feel like they lack is if they cared about their employees, the customers would automatically return.
I like it. So there's a couple other haircut places out there, right? There's Sports Clips, there's Gents Place, there's Great Clips, some of the ones that have been around for a long time. You guys have done a really good job. A lot of franchisors get accused of being just another Me Too concept. When you walk in to Tune Up the Manly Salon, it is very clearly, it's distinct. It's very different. It's got some different things about it than some of the competition. How did Tune Up come about? What's the story there?
I'm getting stared at. So like I said, I was a licensed cosmetologist for 19 years. I worked in Sports Clips, Great Clips, Supercuts, multiple different industries, or I'm sorry, multiple different companies. Yeah. And everyone I saw, I thought that they were lacking. There wasn't anything that was fun. You know, guys go and they put getting their haircut on the Sunday chore list right after Home Depot and going and cutting the grass and that type of stuff. And I didn't think that it should be that way. Women, we love going and getting pampered. Well, most of them anyway. You know, they love getting pampered, and I didn't understand why guys weren't enjoying this. So, you know, between me and Anthony, we decided that we needed to make it so that it wasn't a chore list. And now we literally have guys that will walk in and be like, I know I was here yesterday, but find something for me to be doing. I'm like, well, you just did your nails. We just did your hair. I guess we can give you a shoulder massage, you know, and that's a great feeling to have them want to continue to come in and want to continue to give us business and talk about us. I've never seen so many guys use Snapchat in my life until I walked into a tune-up. They will literally sit there with our tune-up cup and taking selfies. And I'm like, this is great.
That is really cool. So for everybody that's listening, if you're in this area, if you're around Texas, Conroe, I'm sure you've seen Tune Up the Manly Salon. These guys are doing a great job, especially here in this DMA, but expanding over to Dallas and San Antonio, I believe, and a couple of other DMAs. But just for everybody who's listening, maybe it's not familiar with Tune Up. What is Tune Up the Manly Salon? What all do you guys offer? And how is it different from, say, like, I know you guys probably get this all the time, but how is it different from a Sports Clips?
Tune Up the Manly Salon is a place that a guy can go in and be himself. We let you walk in. We give you high fives. We tease you. We give you a hard time. We pour you a beer. We got vodka, Jack, gin, Crown, rum, 4 beers on draft. You get 2 complimentary beverages. We do haircuts, manicures, pedicures, shoulder massages, straight razor shaves, eyebrow waxing, beard trims, and shoulder massages, as well as facials. I've said that a few times.
I was about to say, you've done that before.
And we just wanted a fun environment. You know, you might see it some days where everybody's just busy cutting hair, and you might see it other days where the girls put the scissors down because the electric slide comes on and they're going to get in the hall and they're going to start doing the electric slide. It happens. I want my girls to have fun. I want my customers to have fun.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
She has that pitch down.
I see that.
we have 19 stores. We have 14 around the Houston area. Everything from down south of Webster to up north of Magnolia and everything in between. We have a couple stores in Dallas in the northwest area, South Lake and Colleyville. 2 stores in Austin. We're building out a store in San Antonio. We have a location operational in College Station. and we're growing across Texas. Heavy growth in Dallas, heavy growth in Houston,
And South Carolina.
Waco, Beaumont, everything in between.
Oh, nice.
Canis just signed up the first franchisee for South Carolina a couple of weeks ago, so we'll be growing out to Greenville area, hopefully by the fall time. It's a fun place.
Well, I can tell you, I go myself, and I'm a huge fan. You really do get treated a lot different than you go anywhere else. It's a cool concept. From the time you walk in, just the way it looks, you guys have done a great job with that. So keeping in line with the theme of today, how somebody can find a brand that's right for them, and how do we know that culture is going to be right? Because like you said, business is business. Do these things make sense? Yes or no? Okay, on paper it makes sense. The variable is, do I fit here? Am I going to mix with this culture? You guys do a really cool job of that with TuneUp. How do you make sure you're bringing on franchisees that have the right culture? No, you're good. Go ahead.
During our first meeting, if they don't drink a beer with us, they're not our franchisees.
That's so cool.
we do that on purpose. You know, we're in the fortunate position that we kind of have the opportunity to be selective with who we involve in our circle, right? We used to go to these franchise expos or go to franchise shows, and we kind of play the contact sport. We have to talk to every single person, and we're going to convince every single person that TuneUp, the Manly Salon, is the best thing in the world, and they're all going to love us, and they're going to buy in, and we're going to grow, and that was an unnecessarily bad strategy.
Yeah.
The reality is not everybody's for us, and we're not for everybody. So they need to be selective when they're picking a franchise brand, and franchisors have kind of an obligation, a duty to be selective when they pick the franchisees, because the reality is this is at least a decade-long marriage, a contractually obligated decade-long relationship. And I've witnessed, I've seen, I've heard way too many franchisors issues, lawsuits, infighting, disagreements with the brand or the direction. You see it right now with Subway. There's this massive battle, you know, and I'm not sure the exact numbers of Subways. I think there's 30,000 in the US, but the majority of franchisees are unhappy with the franchisor's direction, and the franchisor is, there's some different arguments. So without going into that, they're at odds. And brands cannot be successful if the two pieces of the brand that needs to be successful is at odds with each other, is at war with each other. So Canis is right. We sit down with them. We don't really ask them about the work experience. We don't care about the resume. Don't even care about the personal financial statement. All we care about is, can they be passionate about this brand? Can we get along with them? If we have a disagreement, can we resolve it quickly and move on to what's important? What kind of beer do they drink? If they drink hard liquor, it's even better. The things you look for in a friend.
Yeah.
You know, it's sometimes I'm a little bit jealous, because a lot of people that are in the general workforce, especially the corporate workforce, have this mentality that you use your work life as a vacation from your home life, and your home life is a vacation from your work life. Sometimes it's cool because you can go home and kind of check out of your work, put the briefcase away and check out.
Yep.
And then you're at work and you kind of check out from your home life.
Yep.
We've chosen purposefully not to have that line in the sand. We've chosen to involve our work life with our home life and vice versa. So we were out on the boat on Friday. Our entire corporate office, bunch of friends, bunch of family hanging out during a work day. To us, there's no difference. So we want those types of relationships where if I see you at the grocery store, I'm not turning the other way, going down the aisle a little faster because I just don't want to talk to you. I want to say hi to you.
Yeah.
That's very well said. Like, if everybody needs to get that, listen back to that. If you're looking at a franchise, listen to what Anthony just said, because it's very well said about how to choose a brand.
Yeah, and I think we've learned it the hard way. I mean, it's not easy, and that was very well said. So getting back on with your story, the statistics, if you go to the International Franchise Association, are pretty scary, right? There's a very small percent of business owners who create a franchise system. There's an even smaller percentage of ones that create a successful franchise brand. I don't remember what the number of franchise that are available in the United States is a large number. It's a very, very small portion of those that have 5 or more units, right? And then it was like less than 1% has 100 units. I think you guys are going to be in that 1%. You're well on your way with 20 and 15 in the chute. You guys have done a great job. And franchising is not easy. Building and learning everything you just said about the culture, that is hard. And, you know, so the odds and the statistics of building one successful franchise brand is incredibly tough. But you guys have done 2 now, and on your way for some other things too. So talk to me about that. So you started franchising TuneUp 2016, 15?
The very beginning of 2016.
And then 2 years later or 1 year later comes Martinis and Manicures?
About a year and a half later.
Okay.
Yeah, we launched Martinis and Manicures, the women's retreat, October of 2017.
So you guys are like double crazy. Not just one brand. We're going to go for two. Talk to us about that. So you got Tune Up the Manly Salon. It's rocking. How does Martinis and Manicures come along, Candace?
So Martinis and Manicures is the sister concept to Tune Up. All the moms kept coming in to Tune Up and saying, where's ours? Where's ours? Where's ours? You know, they were always bringing their sons in. And so I came in and said, finally, one day, come on, guys. I got an idea. We're going to do this. So Martinis and Manicures is exactly what it says. We give out martinis and we do nails. I didn't want to get into the hair. So we do literally just manicures, pedicures, full sets. And then we also do eyelash extensions and waxing. We opened, as Anthony said, October of 2017. And we have 2 franchises already rocking and rolling, ready to go, and actually have a meeting today for more.
That's awesome. And that was another statistic, by the way. 80% of the brands who create a franchise and go through the process of creating a franchise disclosure document, 2 years after that have still not even signed their first franchise agreement. Did you guys know that? So you guys are just crushing those statistics. Well done. Well done.
Inspired me, you know. I come down here and met Anthony and Candace. They opened 2 brands, so it got me fired up. So I did a big speech to the team last week about us opening our second brand. So, you know,
going to do a brother concept.
Brother concept. Yep.
It really does make sense, right? Like you said, and I know we talked to you a little bit about it at the franchise show, but one, we do always get the men, the dads are like, dude, Delta Life's great. I've watched it transform my wife's life, and she has all these friends at the gym. What about us? You're leaving us out. And then also, when you look at an operator, we have some operators in the Delta Life system, or people that come through and want to look at opening a Delta Life, but they'd be, you know, they're all dudes, and they'd be a better fit for a different concept. So yeah, you guys got our wheels turning also. So thank you for that. So 2 brands in 2 years, but that's not enough. What's next for you guys?
We're launching another brand right now. It's called Wax Hand Car Wash. It's old world, old school hand car wash, where you pull up, literally get out of your car. It's vacuum clean, detailed, waxed for you. The car wash business out here in the suburbs of Houston is lackadaisical at best. Automated car washes, bad car washes. You have to do the work yourself. You wait in a line. You go through a machine, messes up your alignment. It scratches your car, gives you a mediocre car wash. And guys like me, we just need our cars cleaned. That's all we want. Simple life. Cars clean, cars vacuumed. And to have to do a little of the work ourselves is humanly possible. So the car's actually taken care of for you. It's a great price point, but much more of an ambiance, much more of an experience than a typical car wash. So we're going to do a full-blown arcade inside of it. So there'd be games and shuffleboard and Xboxes, golden tee, so on and so forth. Picnic tables, a seesaw, outdoor patio, the whole 9 yards. You know, so a little more of an experience to the chore. You know, so Candace hit the nail on the head that these businesses we're creating used to be chores, and now they're becoming fun experiences for the customer base.
And see, you guys are doing such a good job of this. They talked a lot about the franchise show last week in Houston about how there's just too many brands out there creating Me Too brands, right? Like, I have a house cleaning business. I clean houses, so I'm going to franchise. Like, yeah, but if it's not any different than Made Pro, like, what are you doing? Why are you franchising? You guys have done that 3 times now. I know for a fact Martinis and Manicures, Tune Up the Manly Salon. From what I've seen from the renderings from the car wash, you guys are, every time you go to do one, you look at how you can do it different. There's so many people out there that want to create a concept, and they can't figure out how to make it different enough. Have you found, Anthony and Candace, like, is it like anything else? Is it like running a marathon? Like, once you've done it once, like, it gets easier? Is it like anything else? Like, you guys have done this 3 times now. Do you just kind of understand the flow of it? Like, what gives you the confidence to try this 3 times in a row? Like, what has made you be able to do that?
Well, the confidence comes from alcohol. It's a little bit addictive, you know, so kind of success replicates success. So as we grow a brand and we're successful at it, it gives us kind of the energy, the ideas, the enthusiasm to grow a second brand and kind of multiply for that. So it's fun for us. I'm sure down the road there'll be brand number 4, maybe brand number 5. And it comes with trials and errors. You know, we're talking about a lot of our successes here, but, you know, Candace and I, we've been knocked on the chin a couple of times. So you get smarter that way. And you learn what not to do, and it kind of narrows down your focus on what you want to do. And we're doing exactly what we want to do. We want to take care of customers. We want to understand our core demographic. We want to give them better service, a better experience. We want to add complementary brands so that you're not just getting a haircut or your nails done. You're getting that plus some. Want to have some fun doing it. We want to involve people that we want to be around.
We have a saying, and I think that it definitely sets for any of the industries that we do go into, is that we're not in the haircutting business. We're in the customer service business. We just happen to give out haircuts and beer. We're not in the we're not in the nail business. We're in the customer service business. We just happen to do manicures and give martinis. And I think that that's what makes it so much different. And I think that's what makes it easy for us, is because we actually really do care. You know, a lot of people can pretend, but if you don't really have full heart into it, you don't really care, and it's going to show.
I can tell you it's super inspiring. It's inspired me and Robbie. It's inspiring to a lot of the people around here. When we first moved to this area, we heard about you guys so much. So what you guys are doing is super inspiring. Hats off to you. You're here with Texas Franchise Radio. You got me and Robbie. You got Candace and Anthony of Tune Up Manly Salon, Martinez Manicures, the Women's Retreat, and the car wash brand that's right around the corner. You guys are crushing it. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris.
And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1 and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
All right, welcome back to Texas Franchise Radio. We have some great guests today, and Candace and Anthony of Tune Up the Manly Salon and Martinez and Manicures, the Women's Retreat, another model right around the corner. So today the focus has really been on, if you are looking to get into a franchise system, what are some good takeaways? You got a couple of groups of franchisors here who are building brands, myself and Robbie with Delta Life, Candace and Anthony, and we've been trying to tell you, it's the balance sheet is the balance sheet. The numbers are the numbers. You've got to find something that you're passionate about, something that you align with culturally. Talk to the other franchisees. See how the relationship is between the franchisors and the franchisees. Anthony talked about some of the stuff Subway's going through. Robbie and I talked about the troubles that Subway's having right now. On the last show we did, one of our biggest competitors of late was Curves. Once they sold 3 or 4 times, they had some real bad culture issues. So if you're going to get into a franchise system, make sure you do your homework. Make sure you find something that you're passionate about. Make sure you find something that you're in the, Anthony said the magical thing. This is a 10-year marriage. When you sign that contract, make sure you know it's in that contract. If you meet somebody in a brand and you're signing the paperwork a week later, legally, morally, ethically, there's a lot of problems with that. Make sure you do your homework and make sure it aligns well with you. Take it slow, because once you're in for 10 years at a minimum. So do your homework there. All right. It is time for my favorite part of the show, Stump the Chump. Last time, you guys remember we had Big Rob versus Dirty Dan. Today's Big Rob versus Anthony the Animal. All right. So
Anthony the Animal.
We're going to give you a little education here on Stump the Chump, fill you guys in on some franchise trivia. Everybody knows that the loser has to wear the hat. Robbie, I'm going to set that right there for you.
Put it right here.
All right, Stump the Chump. You guys know I'm going to start it off with a couple of softballs for each person. Anthony the Animal, starting off with you. Number 1, who won the 2016 presidential election?
I have to know that. That was Donald Trump.
That was Donald Trump. Well done, sir. Well done. All right. Anthony pulls away. Robbie, another softball question just to get you warmed up. The world's fastest growing plant is a species of what?
Bamboo.
Oh, man, he got it. I think he cheated.
We all know bamboo grows fast. I mean,
Man, it is tied 1-1. This is going to be a little exciting. All right, Anthony, back over to you. So now it's going to get a little harder. Okay. How much does the franchise industry contribute to the annual output in the United States in terms of dollars? So this one's a multiple choice, but the annual output of franchising in the United States, how much of the GDP here in the United States is that? So is it A, 300 billion? This is all franchise businesses here in the United States. How much are they doing annually? Is it A, 300 billion, B, 2.3 trillion, C, 1.5 billion, or D, 10 trillion?
I'm going to say B.
B, 2.3 trillion is the correct answer. Well done, sir. All right. Yeah, so franchise business here, and it's really big in the Texas market, but across the United States is responsible for 2.31 trillion annual output, 11.4% of the overall private sector output here in the United States. Really impressive. Creates a lot of jobs, creates a lot of opportunity. Franchising is a great thing. We need to do a better job of educating the public on what franchising is and how good it is for the economy. All right, Robbie. So to follow that up, how many franchise concepts? We've been talking on this show about somebody who may want to get into franchising and how they can find the brand that's best for them, right? So how many, if somebody wanted to open a franchise here in the United States, how many concepts would they have to choose from?
Not a multiple choice. So I've got to pull that number.
Unfortunately. And if he doesn't get it, it goes to you, Anthony, and you'll have a chance to fire off. So how many franchise concepts would somebody have to choose from if they were going to get going here in the United States?
It's got to be in the thousands, if I had to guess. So 2,000.
All right, I'll mark that down. Anthony, what you think?
I'm going to guess 75,000.
It was 3,000. Robbie comes away with that one. Yeah, so if you're, like we've been talking about all show, if you're looking to get into the franchise space, you have a lot of options. You got to narrow it down just at first. You know, I think B-Dubs is really cool, but I would never just go do a Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know anything about food, right? So narrow it down to the industry first that you're passionate about. Do your homework. There's over 3,000 options, so good luck. All right, next question. Anthony, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So Burger King. Burger King is you guys familiar with Burger King? Everybody heard of this thing? So pretty popular concept. They got into a master franchise agreement in Australia back in the 70s or 80s, right? Unfortunately, when they went to open these Burger Kings, there was already a little sandwich shop there in Australia with the name Burger King. So they had already sold the master franchise agreement to this group down in Australia. They go to open the Burger Kings. They get in a trademark dispute. It becomes this big thing. So the second largest franchisee in the entire Burger King system is running 390 stores down in Australia under a different name. It's the same concept, but it's under a different name. And I want to know what the name of that is down in Australia. Is it A, Aussie Burger, B, Burger Queen, C, Hungry Jack's, or D, Burgeroo?
I'm stumped. The obvious answer should be B, Burger Queen.
It is C, Hungry Jack's. The guy's name is Jack. I think that has something to do with it. But whenever Burger King, instead of having to give the guy back all the rights, they gave him a list of names he could go with. And so now the logo looks the exact same. It's hilarious. It's got the yellow buns, Hungry Jack's right there in the middle. And there's the second largest franchisee in the entire system is running a concept called Hungry Jack's.
That was new to me. I'd have went with B, Burger Queen. So
I'd have went with Aussie Burger. That just sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We need to go start Aussie Burger. Okay, number 6. While most of us know that Texas, Robbie, this is for you. While most of us know that Texas holds the largest number of Dairy Queen restaurants here in the United States, what state did Dairy Queen actually start in?
It was Oklahoma.
Anthony? You guys remember, have y'all ever seen the real famous picture of the very first Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
I think it was in California.
It was in Illinois, right outside of Chicago. Yeah, so nobody gets those points. Good job,
I
though.
was figuring it was a Southern treat, so.
I always thought it started in Texas, but
Yeah.
Texas does have the largest number of Dairy Queens in the United States. But no, it actually started up in the northeast, right? Yeah, Chicago, Midwest, I guess that's what that is. So these guys were really good at making soft serve ice cream, and they wanted to go into a local sandwich shop and convince this guy to serve the Dairy Queen in there. He finally let them bring in the ice cream into a sandwich shop one day. It's like, okay, you can sell ice cream in the sandwich shop while I'm doing my thing. He sold 1,600 servings of ice cream that day, and that formed the beginnings of what is now Dairy Queen.
Oh, nice.
All right, who we back over to? Mr. Anthony the Animal. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a little about your competition here with Sports Clips. So Sports Clips was founded in 1993 by Gordon Logan, and it has how many franchised units?
1,210.
Robbie, any idea?
890.
1,600. Mr. Anthony gets that one. So yeah, they have 1,600 as of 2018 that are franchised here in the state. So you guys are right behind them. You're well on your way. All right, Robbie, back over to you. Starbucks and Dunkin', one of the largest case studies in franchising, right? Starbucks, as you guys all know, privately owned. Dunkin' Donuts, one of their competitors, is now 100% franchise, which I didn't know. They no longer have any corporate stores as of 2018. They're down to no corporate stores. So Dunkin' versus Starbucks, it's always a classic question on which one's better, privately owned and going the way Starbucks did, or leveraging franchisees and expanding the way Dunkin' did. So between the two, which brand has the most units in the U.S. and by how much? What's the margin? Which one has the most open and operating stores in the U.S. and by how many stores?
Starbucks by 4,000.
Anthony, I give you a choice, but it's pretty close here.
He's spot on, I think.
It is Starbucks, and it's by 5,000.
Oh, okay.
Here in the United States. Yeah. So just so everybody knows, Starbucks has 13,900 opened. Dunkin' Donuts has 9,000. Now, doing some research for this, if you do want to own a Starbucks or be a part of it, they do have a license program. If you own a mall or a significant place with a lot of traffic, you can actually license for them to bring in and open a Starbucks into your facility. And that's actually 9,000 out of the total 13,000. All right. So there's going to be a tiebreaker. I think are we tied up right now? I think we are tied up right now. So here goes the tie. Both of you just give me a number. Closest one to it will win. Loser will have to wear the hat. How many Dairy Queen restaurants are there today?
I'm going to do prices right here.
I was going to say, Robbie, throw out a guess.
2,400.
I was thinking like 800.
800? Dude shouldn't even be here. It's 6,400. Put the hat on.
Hey, I take care of our guests.
Anthony, well done on Something Shop, my friend. That's going to close out another episode of Texas Franchise Radio. We're bringing you all things franchising. Today's focus was on how do you select the right brand for you. A huge thank you to Anthony and Candace for taking time out of their day to come talk to us about Tune Up the Manly Salon and Martinez Manicures, the Women's Retreat. Thanks again, and we'll see everybody next time.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Texas Franchise Radio, where we bring on all the local franchise experts. If you liked the show, please share it with your friends. If you have any questions you'd like answered live on the show, send them to @Texas Franchise Radio on Facebook. Till next time. Texas